Hey, everybody, it's Brian Vieaux, and I am guest hosting, I guess is a better term, for the Rethink Everything podcast. This podcast is all about the Rethink Everything series of books that Coach Kyle and his team have uh, published so far. There's so many more coming out. We learned about that on an earlier episode, and I get the honor to interview the first guest from the Green Book, Rethink Everything You Know About Being a Next Gen Loan Officer. And with me today is James Duncan. James, welcome to the pod.
Thank you, President View. It's nice to be chatting with you as always.
Yeah, so we've got a lot to cover. 2 years ago now, you wrote a chapter in the book. It was chapter 11, by the way. I know that because I've got it right here. The do's and don'ts, the do's and don'ts of personal branding.
Mhm.
We're not going to rehash that, folks. You can go out there and buy the book. It's still out there on Amazon. But 2 years later, as you think about the do's and don'ts that you wrote 2 years ago, um, and now knowing, here we are in Q4 of 2025,
Mhm.
the age of AI, all the stuff. My gut says there's probably not a lot you would change, but the tools you use have definitely changed. So let's start there, and then I want to talk about kind of what the heck you're up to. So let's start there. What would you do different in terms of those do's and don'ts today?
Well, you kind of alluded to it right there in your question. The way that I wrote that chapter and the five do's and the five don'ts were based on fundamental principles that don't really change. They're kind of the immutable laws of personal branding. If there is anything that I would add, maybe as an example or as a kind of a part of a case study, it would be the adoption of AI. Because when I authored that chapter, AI was in its nascent stages. It
Yeah,
had just gotten released, like ChatGPT had just gotten released to the public,
yeah,
and all of us busy trying to figure out, all right, what is this new uh, paradigm that we're living in? What is this new dynamic, and how quickly are the robot overlords going to be taken over? Um, since then, I've seen personal branding go through a number of iterations, both at the to the benefit and as well as the detriment of a lot of people's personal brands.
yeah.
So has played a pretty big role in that. One thing that, if there were any other immutable laws that I would add to that, it would be a sixth category of don't allow AI to become your spokesperson. Don't let it
Mm,
speak for you. Use it as a tool, and it's a great tool.
yeah,
But where you get into dangerous territory, especially when it comes to building a personal brand, uh, it becomes people have leveraged it improperly. I think in allowing it to create their content for them, and then they just copy and paste whatever is spit out.
yeah,
But after a stretch of time, it gets pretty apparent that who is using AI to create their content and who isn't. And because I mean, it's as big as this industry is, it's a small industry,
oh yeah,
and there have been a lot of people that have become very prolific at posting on social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever it happens to be. And you can kind of tell they might have gained a lot of followers, but is it really gaining a lot of business? Are they gaining a lot of traction when it comes to converting that audience into paying clients? And I would argue not as much as you might. So I think you have to be very cautious in your use of AI. Like I'm fond of telling people that I use AI on a daily basis.
yeah,
I use it to help me brainstorm, to help me structure my thoughts, to take an individual idea and help me flesh it out a little bit better. It's a great companion for that. But
yeah.
I will never allow AI to speak for me.
Love that. I love that. And that doesn't mean you don't take the output. What it means is you take the output and then you write it in your tone, in your words, and
Mhm.
in your way.
Yeah,
To me, it's the great accelerator.
it's a good way to put it.
I have a lot of ideas. I've always had a lot of ideas, and then they just sit there, or worse, They don't even, they just float around. And what I find myself doing every day is I'll either, send myself a voice memo, or better yet, I'll memo myself right in Chat GPT, right into
Mhm.
voice.
Mhm.
And, I'll say, no output needed. This is just for just so you can remember and I can remember. And then I'll dictate into it. Um, and then, from there you'll get 3 additional paths that you can go pursue, which I think is super helpful for me for accelerating kind of, ideation and content creation.
Yeah.
So you you also have had a very major life change, and career change. You're
Yep.
in the process of a life change with that, which I think is awesome,
Thank you.
and career change, frankly, which I think is super awesome. So,
Yep.
um, you've had this awesome career as a, chief marketing officer in inside the mortgage business, inside big mortgage companies. Very impactful for that brand, for that company, for that logo.
Mhm.
But you stood up your own agency recently,
It
um, and tell us about that process, kind of what led you there, and then how things are different now for you, from a creative perspective, now that you're out from under that, a corporate logo, so to speak.
Um, okay, a lot to unpack with that question. I'll start with the first part. What led me to wanting to do this? Starting my own agency has been a back burner idea for a number of years. It was never the right time when I was leading the marketing division at Thrive, because I loved what I did, and the people that I did it with way too much to have ever left that. But it was still just kind of like I said, something on the back burner. It's like, yeah, at some point. And then Thrive merged with Lower, and I spent a year leading the retail, or the marketing
Yeah,
division for the retail side of Lower, and loved that experience as well. And I'm really glad that I stayed through the transition from Thrive to Lower, because it exposed me to just a different way of doing things, and exposed me to new ideas that I hadn't considered, or new angles that I hadn't considered as a marketing director. And I really feel like that 12 months that I spent in that position was necessary for me to get to the point where I was like, yeah, it's time.
yeah,
And like I said, I'm glad that I did. I left behind, made some really, really close relationships with folks over at Lower, and it's a great company, and a lot of great people. Also, will always have great fondness for my time at Thrive,
yeah,
because the Thrive brand, that was my baby for 8 years,
right,
and loved what we built, and how we went about building it. So I definitely have, and still have some great connections from those days, and what led me to wanting to launch out on my own was a couple of things. One, turning 52 and deciding, you know what, if I don't do it now, I'm probably never going to do it.
yeah,
And and the second thing was, both of my boys were graduating. The youngest was graduating from high school, and they were going to be off on their own college journeys. And the life change that you referred to was something else that had been a back burner idea with me and my wife, and that was for her to she's a nurse, and so she's going to start taking travel nurse assignments and doing what I do now. I can do it from anywhere.
right,
And thank you, Elon, for Starlink. And so we put together a plan, and this is about 5 or 6 years in the making. We put together a plan that when the boys were set on their college journeys, we were going to get an RV, and that was going to be our living quarters for her travel assignments, and I would just be the chauffeur
right,
driving to whatever destination we were going to next, and still running my marketing agency. So we're in the beginning stages of executing on that plan, and we're pretty excited about where we're going to be. We're still right now in early December. We're still deciding where we're going to be in January, but I can guarantee it's going to be in the South.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
uh, and then we'll just start making our way here, there, tooling across the country, places we've never been before that we've always wanted to go.
yeah. How incredible is that too? Because it's one thing to think about going to travel the country like on a vacation mode, right?
Right.
But to actually settle in a place for what, 6, 8 weeks at a time, or 12
13.
weeks? 13, there you go,
Yeah.
13 weeks. I mean, you get to do some deep exploration in these areas. I'm excited for you, man. I think it's a super cool experience you guys are going to have. It would never work for my situation. My wife would never want to live in an RV with me. Maybe somebody
Takes a
else, but
commitment.
not with me. But I think it's cool. I think it's. I hope you're planning to document it as well. For
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
We have a special journal that my wife bought and had customized that we're going to be documenting a lot of our experiences and the things that we learn, things that we see, and also I'm pretty heavy on LinkedIn. I'll be documenting it there as well.
that's what I'm counting on right there. That's going to be a that's going to be a cool one to follow. So let's talk about Caelum, right?
Yep, that's one way to pronounce it. I pronounce it Kylum.
Kylum.
Yeah.
First of all, how'd you come up with the name Kylum? Caelum.
Yep. And interesting story of how that developed. When my wife and I made the decision that this was what I needed to do, the next iteration of my career, what it was going to look like. Um, as a marketing guy, this is kind of hard to say, but I was banging my head against the wall trying to come up with a name. Like it's so easy for me to do it for my clients, for me to do it
Yeah,
for
yeah,
other
yeah.
people. But when it comes to doing it for myself, oh my gosh, it's darn near impossible.
Right.
And so I was just hitting. It was like banging my head against a brick wall, trying to come up with the right name. And as somebody like my faith is very important to me, so I wanted there to be some kind of a subtle connection to that faith without just being over and in your face
Yep.
about it. And so I was looking through a lot of old Greek words and old Latin words, and my wife and I were at dinner one night at a local restaurant, and we were just talking, bouncing ideas off of each other, like both of us on our phones doing some Google searches, and my wife stops and said, "Huh," and she flipped her phone around, showed me. She said, "What do you think of this word?" And it was the word Kylum. And I was like, "That's actually a really cool word. What does it mean?" And she said, She looked at it, and it means sky or high heaven. It's
Oh,
an old Latin word. And as she kept reading, the hair started standing up on my arms. I started
yeah.
getting goosebumps because she read that ancient Roman historians would use the word Kylum with a capital C to as their designation for Yahweh, the Hebrew God, and as the creator of the world and everything in it.
Yeah.
And that was I was like, I'm done. That's it. That's the name.
I love
And
that.
so the name was born, and it was very easy for me to come up with a connection to the business that I'm running because um, I think of the analogy when you're dreaming about what success looks like in whatever business it is that you're running. Do you look down at the ground or do you look up at the sky? And as we continued to do research, we also found a more modern translation of the word is sculptor or chisel, and that's my
Yeah.
role. I'm
Yeah.
the one that comes in and takes this idea that you have, this concept of what your mission is, and I'm the one that chips away the rough edges and starts with this big marble slab, and you end up with a statue that's in the Louvre,
Yeah.
and so that's my role, and that's my contribution to it. So it was a pretty natural fit, kind of an ethereal explanation there
Yeah. I
for
love it.
simple name, but yeah, it just fit and it was born and there was no looking back.
So you're off and running. This thing you've been, what, 6 months now or longer?
End of November was the end of month 7. I launched it,
Okay. Yeah.
officially launched it 1st of April.
So, like, what have you learned? What have you learned in the first half a year of doing this on your own that you wish you would have known, when you were, serving Thrive or lower? Is there like a couple aha moments you've had along the way?
Oh, there's been tons of them. The learning curve in running your own business is very, very steep. I've started businesses before, but it's been a hot minute since the last one.
Yeah.
Um, but the learning curve on this has been very, very steep because it's all on you. It's all on your shoulders. From prospecting, HR, benefits, taxes, managing finances, all of the things. the biggest aha moments that I've had as it pertains to what I actually do in serving my clients has really been from uh, uh, it's actually been gaining an appreciation of what I had when I was at Thrive, and in terms of the leadership,
Yeah.
because my primary motivation for wanting to do this was I had spent almost a decade trying to win over the hearts and minds of individual loan officers and thinking differently about what what modern marketing actually
Yeah.
looks like, what great marketing strategy actually looks, sounds, and feels like. And I'll give you a hint: it's not flyers, it's not business cards, it's not finding a social media platform that can post on your behalf the same standard canned corporate looking and feeling content that we see everywhere.
Yep.
It's way deeper than that. And that was my message to those loan officers. Well, I started Kylum because I wanted to invert that funnel. And instead of targeting loan officers and changing their hearts and minds, I realized that I needed to um, start changing the hearts and minds of executives
Mm.
and decision makers, and be a support to the existing marketing staff that is at that company, to give them the credibility that they deserve, that they've earned, that they trained to help them become the marketing professionals that they trained to be.
Yeah.
But too many marketing divisions are treated as fulfillment centers or as order takers and just fulfilling specific requests that quite honestly do nothing to
Yeah.
increase client attraction, client conversion, or client retention. And so the whole gist of what I'm trying to do is to expose these executives to a different way of thinking about the people who are already under
Yeah.
their control, or if they're maybe a little bit smaller IMB or a larger brokerage shop or something like that, and they don't have a dedicated marketing division, I can come in and give them some pointers and help them maybe with a couple of key hires that they can then build that world class marketing division within their organization. Because once you realize what the right strategy is to employ for your business, you realize that building a marketing division is less about headcount and more about alignment with
Yeah.
a word that I know you're very fond of,
Yeah.
alignment with the direction of the company. And that's been kind of the basis of what I founded with Kylum.
I love that. And alignment is such a powerful word in a lot of different ways. And nowhere is it more necessary than in marketing, right?
Absolutely.
Whether, I mean, if if you're to your point earlier, if you're just using the off the shelf canned content that's been mass created for you,
Hmm.
how do you know that it aligns with your personal brand, your mission as an individual, right? And so
Hmm.
uh, I've learned a lot about alignment of from a personal branding perspective with in my past life with FinLocker and now in my role at Mismo.
Hmm.
And I have to be aligned with what I put out under my personal brand. Otherwise, everyone would see right through it, right? And so it's no different. In fact, it's probably even more important for a loan officer who's dealing with the general public and consumers at large.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And there and that's a lot of what I cover in the chapter that I wrote for the Green Book. Is one of our primary goals at Thrive was we wanted to make the Thrive brand so daggum sexy
Yeah,
that
you got it. You got it. You got
but
that.
I know you can bleep that out. I know how sensitive Kyle is to expletives, but yeah, we wanted the Thrive brand to be so sexy that the loan officer would feel foolish,
Right.
not leveraging the power of that brand. And so that's what we spent the vast majority of our time focused on. Now we still allowed for like the individualization,
Yeah.
provided that the Thrive brand and the logo and the brand identity for Thrive stayed intact and was a
Yeah.
component of it. So there was that connection. But yeah, that's what a lot of folks miss. And one of the things that I wrote in the book was that's what you need to look for in your employer. You can't think that that your logo equates to your personal brand. That's called a brand identity. Has nothing to do with logo. Your corporate logo will work just fine.
Yeah.
And if you disagree with that, then why are you with that lender?
Yeah.
And so that's a question that individual loan officers have to answer for themselves.
Yeah. I remember when Georgetown Mortgage, became Thrive, and
Yeah.
that was one of the first rebrands in the industry that kind of went in the direction in an opposite direction of traditionally what every mortgage company did, which had the word mortgage in
Hmm.
their brand name. And
Hmm.
uh, at first you're like, "What is this going to work?" But I I watched it, and it to me it made a lot of sense in a lot of different ways. And
Hmm.
I did love the way that I saw the loan officers, the branches kind of adapt and adopt to the Thrive brand.
Hmm.
Um, so we have a few minutes to go here. I want to just have you share if there was one thing if you were asked today to write in the green book today, what would be one thing you would absolutely write about and share with an audience?
And the green book still is with the same theme of rethink everything you think
Yep.
about being a modern law officer.
Yep.
Oh man, wish I had more time to prep for a better answer
uh,
than the one that just popped in my head. I would probably stick with this whole concept of personal branding because and the do's and don'ts list, because there are a lot of great coaches in the industry, and a lot of them are talking about how the importance of building your personal brand. Um, it's not that they're necessarily wrong in what they're saying. It's the inference I think that people are taking when they hear that,
mm,
and that they got to go out and just totally reinvent themselves. Here's the dirty little secret about that. You already have a personal brand.
yeah,
It's your reputation.
that's
That's
right.
it. Stop overcomplicating the whole process. It is people's experience in working with you and what they say about you when you're not in the room. That's your personal brand. And if that needs work, if you really feel that that needs work, then you might be right because that kind of gives a sense of how you feel about what you do for a living.
Yeah.
But you don't need to work on your personal brand. What you need to do is work on how to get attention and how to create. I have somebody that I know and trust who's mentored me a lot, says you need to create a spectacle. Because if you go back through history, think about all the best marketers in the world, like P.T. Barnum and all of the ad men that created all the great agencies, like David Ogilvy and Bill Bernbach, Rosser Reeves. You think about all of those people. They they created spectacles. They
Yeah.
created things that people wanted to tune into, and that's what you have to do. You are in the business of garnering attention, not of submitting compliance reports or just schlepping FHA loans. You are in
Right.
the business of creating attention and solving problems. That's it. Now, how do you go tell the world about that? And the answer to that question, well, that's going to depend largely on the individual and the kind of business that you want to build.
Love it. James, thanks for taking a ride here, and
Absolutely.
more importantly, enjoy the upcoming ride, the ride across the country.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit of white knuckling right now when I've got 16,000 pounds
Yeah.
following me very closely from behind, but it's been a lot of fun so far.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching and following the travels. Once again, thanks for joining me on the Rethink Everything podcast.
Of course.
And guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, like it, share it, subscribe to it, and be sure to come back for the next episode of Rethink Everything. See you, James.
See you, Brian.